It's been 2 years since I first saw Halloween Ends on Peacock back in 2022, well, 2.5 years, give or take, and I felt like it's time to finally reassess, revisit, give a new review, see if my thoughts have changed on Halloween Ends. Let's talk about it. Hello everyone, Vic here with another video talking about the Halloween franchise. Today we're talking about Halloween Ends. Had to do it, have revisited all the movies in the franchise. We got this left, we got Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. But let's talk Halloween Ends, a movie that came out in 2022, advertised as the final confrontation between Laurie Strode and Michael Myers. Well, listen, I mean, it's too late to sue for false advertising, but let's be honest. This was not the final confrontation between Michael Myers and Laurie Strode. This was a Christine remake. This is a movie about someone else, a kid named Corey. But let's backtrack. Let's get in some background here. Of course, Halloween 2018, huge box office movie. So inevitably, the idea became like, hey, let's make a sequel, and then, hey, let's make a trilogy, Halloween Kills, which was delayed. Originally supposed to come out in 2020, ended up coming out in 2021. They announced Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends at the same time, which I didn't like because I felt like that took the suspense away from Halloween Kills, because when you know there's a third movie after that, you know nothing truly substantial. There can be no finality in Halloween Kills. We knew that the story had to continue. I'd rather just take it movie by movie, announce Halloween Ends after Halloween Kills. Such is life. Halloween Kills came and went. Mixed bag. Kind of polarizing amongst the audience. A lot of people liked how Michael was just a badass serial killer throughout the movie. But you had the whole stupid mob storyline. Evil dies tonight, which it didn't die that night. You had the stupid side plot line, the old hospital scene brought down Halloween Kills. So coming to Halloween Ends, remember me and my friend Nick Arcana, we didn't have high expectations. We said, okay, well, Halloween 2018, we're at the highest fans of that. Halloween Kills, kind of a letdown for us. And now Halloween Ends, what are they going to do with this? And then you started hearing rumors online that the story in this movie was taking a wildly different direction. We heard about this Corey stuff before the movie came out. But we tried to stay as spoiler-free as possible. Just wanted a good follow-up to Halloween Kills. Tie up the trilogy neatly, a nice bow on the trilogy. Give us the final confrontation between Michael and Laurie as advertised. And what do we get? Well, let's talk about it. We get some fun music playing at the beginning of the movie. We get Corey, the introduction of Corey, who is babysitting probably the most sadistic, mean little kid I've seen in a horror movie in a long time. I mean, you have Damien, you have this kid. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you had Julian in Halloween 2018 was a great little kid, but this kid here that Corey's babysitting, apparently he picked the wrong kid to babysit, because this kid is going to play a horrible prank on him involving a knife, locking Corey in an upstairs room. Really random opening, though. I have to say, as I'm watching the opening, I'm like, whoa, like, what does it have to do with Michael Myers? What the hell is this? Who is Corey? What is this scene? Is Michael Myers going to come and kill Corey? Is Michael going to show up here? But no, we're not going to get Michael Myers for a long time. What we get is Corey kicking a door open, hitting the kid. The kid flies off the stairs, right down to the ground, into a face full of blood, as his parents witness this whole thing in dramatic fashion. And I kid you not, when Nick Arcana saw this scene, he laughed. I didn't laugh, but I thought we were watching something like not a Halloween movie. I thought maybe we'd turned on the wrong damn movie, because this was completely ridiculous as an opening scene. But listen, it got the point across. This meant that Corey was inadvertently had killed the little kid. Now Corey was going to be having a horrible life afterwards. He was going to be charged with aggravated manslaughter, but somehow he gets off. He's back on the streets, but for some reason, he's still in Haddonfield. I don't know about you guys, but if this whole situation happened to me, I'm leaving town. I'm not staying in the same town. I know his mom has a house there. Maybe she has some commitment to stay there. But we're sending Corey somewhere else. There has to be grandma's house somewhere, some uncle's house he can go to. You can't stay in Haddonfield after that, because everywhere he goes, he's treated like shit. He has that stigma to him. They're calling him a murderer. He's getting bullied by the local kids. This is terrible that he's still in this town. I don't understand it. Strictly for plot conveniences. But apparently everybody stays in Haddonfield. There's some magnetic force that when bad shit happens to you in Haddonfield, you don't move on with your life. You just stay in Haddonfield, and then bad shit happens again. I guess that's the curse of this town or something. So Corey, I want to say this. I understand that the movie wanted to go in a different direction. David Gordon Green wanted to do something completely different. I'm open to the franchise doing different things. We don't need Michael just going around stalking everybody in every sequel. Halloween 3 was a fantastic film, which had nothing to do with Michael Myers. We're open to different things. I think most of the fans are open to different things if it's executed well. And I question the execution of this movie, the timing of this movie, because remember, the thing about this movie is that it's not a random Halloween sequel. It's supposed to be actually tying up not only the trilogy, but at this point, this part of the franchise is being tied up. I mean, this is going to be the end of Jamie Lee Curtis in the franchise, I think. We don't know. Maybe she'll show up in the TV show. But as a ending to a trilogy, the goal of a last chapter of a trilogy is to tie up all the loose knots, all the threads that have been introduced in the first two movies are supposed to come back. It's supposed to really change how you see the first two movies. It's supposed to all tie together for future watches. You want to be able to watch the trilogy back to back, all three movies, and get the sense of cohesion, get the sense of consistency, continuity. You want to get the sense that the creators and writers had a plan for the entire trilogy, and this David Gordon Green trilogy is not that. This movie, in my opinion, doesn't line up with Halloween 2018 or Halloween Kills at all. But let's get back to Corey for a second. Corey, who's still in town, getting bullied by kids. I don't understand the casting of the bullies here because I understand that they're high school kids. They have to ask them to buy beer for them. But Corey's a much bigger dude than like the guy that's bullying him here. And it looks like Corey could very easily kick his ass. Not only that, I feel like the bully who's just like stepping to Corey as if it's like some small kid he can bully. He's way too overconfident in how he's pushing around Corey. I'm like, if you do believe that Corey is some kind of murderer, I don't know if you're that bold to like actually. I know they don't actually see him as a murderer. They see him as probably somebody who actually killed the kid. But I don't know the whole the bully trope, the bully thing, and also you know what this makes me think of because I just recently watched Rob Zombie's Halloween. It makes me think about that as well. It makes me think of okay, giving a killer a motive, being bullied. It's always kind of lazy when you do this in horror movies. It's not the exact reason that Corey turns to a life of crime, but we'll get back to it. Okay, so Corey has an encounter with Laurie Strode. They're trying to figure out who's a psycho, who's a freak show. Laurie's actually going to introduce him to Allyson. Now, Allyson, who after Halloween 2018, I thought was set up to be the new final girl. That was, I thought, where the franchise was going with the trilogy. But then in part two, she became more of a role player, more of a supporting cast member. There was actually a big opportunity. Halloween Kills could have used someone to really step up as the real main character, and they just didn't do that with her in Halloween Kills. So in Halloween Ends, what's her role? Well, she's going to immediately give gooey eyes towards Corey when she sees him at the hospital. Laurie Strode did not on purpose introduce Allyson to Corey because she felt like Allyson needed a hot date. But Allyson immediately falls in love with Corey and aggressively pursues him for the next 15 minutes. Almost in a way that's sort of unbelievable because Corey's kind of coming off as aloof, not really showing any interest, kind of just wants to go back to his, I guess, sort of lonely and sort of bullied, terrible existence he has in Anfield. But Allyson is super strong and pursuing him. And okay, I mean, I guess it works. So what we get in the first half of the movie really is almost more of a dramatic romance here. We have two characters dealing with trauma coming together. We have this whole dance party scene where Corey somehow runs into the mom of the kid he killed. And again, I know it's a small town, but this is exactly one of those scenarios where you should have left the town, Corey. You shouldn't be there. I'm shocked the mom is still in town. If that happened to your son in that town, could you live in the same house? I'm sure the parents would have moved away too, but they're just making it so that these two characters can still run to each other into a bar, and then she's lecturing him about killing his son, and it's a horrible situation. And then, of course, Corey's still getting bullied by these kids. These high school kids will not leave Corey alone. Corey gets pulled into the sewer by Michael Myers. Now, I guess let's talk about Michael Myers because, damn near 30, 40 minutes goes by without an appearance by Michael Myers. We get the hint that, or we get told basically that Michael is, I guess, pulling people into the sewers the last 4 years. But Michael doesn't kill Corey. Michael looks into Corey's eyes, and I guess, I mean, the same way Allyson fell in love with Corey by looking at him, Michael falls in love with Corey also. No, not really, but I don't know. I can't say Michael's giving Corey the gooey eyes, but he just can't kill him. He's like, hey, I see the evil in you that Dr. Loomis once saw in me. You're a kinship. I feel a kinship. I feel an apprenticeship coming on. I want to train you to be a killer. Transference of evil coming up. Michael's able to telepathically see into Corey's brain and pick up the memories of Corey killing the kid. But the problem is, for me, characterization-wise, I mean, Corey really did accidentally kill the kid. He didn't mean to kill the kid. So there's no intentional murder that Michael could have looked into. So we're just saying, by coincidence, he happened to kill the kid. And he also has the curse of Thorn in him. Not the curse of Thorn, but he has some kind of evil in him that Michael sees. Unlikely. And also, by the way, this new characterization of Michael, like, he wouldn't just kill Corey. He sees something in him and lets him go. I mean, Michael's supposed to be the personification of pure evil, the darkness behind his eyes. I mean, Loomis hoped he'd go to hell, but he knew that hell wouldn't have him. I don't know about this whole Michael looking into Corey's eyes and seeing something in him that he respects or wants to pass on to him, lets him go. I see the Michael Myers I know and love, probably just killing Corey right here in the sewer and continuing to live his life. He lets Corey go. Corey then runs into a homeless person who does attack him, so this could be considered self-defense, but it's kind of convenient that right after he runs into Michael, he's now killing somebody, kills the homeless person. And I don't know, the idea of Corey being a killer, like that's in his background, I don't understand that again, because it feels like Corey accidentally killed the kid. So where that could have happened to anybody, I mean, it's a weird situation. He kicked a damn door into the kid's face. The kid flew off the stairs. But I don't know. I don't necessarily buy it. But Michael having a transference of evil for me works with Jamie Lloyd, because Jamie Lloyd was, a family member, his niece, and Michael still was trying to kill Jamie Lloyd, but then just through the experience after Michael's gone, then the evil passed on to Jamie. That's a different thing than Michael actively having a human being that while he's alive, he's letting go and trying to train as the new boogeyman. I don't know if I buy that. It's a weird direction. I know the whole Christine thing. I like Christine, but I don't know. Let's come back, though. Let's go back to Laurie Strode for a second, who's writing a book, a memoir of the past events, her struggles and battles with Michael Myers. In an early narration of this film, she says that she has decided to move on because she saw the town freaking out. So she decided it's not her job to freak out anymore. So she buys a nice house in suburban Haddonfield, and she's baking, and she's happy-go-lucky, and she's living a normal life. I just don't understand. I mean, this is a character who spent 40 years feeling the trauma of one encounter with Michael Myers back in 1978. 40 years waiting for Michael to come back. 40 years creating trap doors, trap rooms, and bunkers, learning how to shoot, learning how to do hand-to-hand combat, being paranoid every day. She's spent 40 years obsessing about Michael Myers, only to have Michael actually come back, and the fear was actually realized, like, he's back. I was right. I was right to be paranoid. He's here. She thinks she kills him in a fire, but he's out. He kills half the town, it seems, and then kills her daughter. So 4 years later, she's normal in Haddonfield. To me, she should be even more foregone. If you wanted to go in that direction of her being Sarah Connor in Halloween 2018, she should be like totally off the cliff here. She should be completely bunkered down, she should be living in a room that looks like the damn rec room that Bert had in the original Tremors, where Michael Myers walks in that room and all those weapons on the wall, and she kills Michael with 50,000 bullets and says, "You broke into the wrong damn rec room, didn't you, Michael?" That's how she should be living and Halloween Ends, but instead, she's like just, again, living happy-go-lucky. And again, I asked the same question that I asked of Corey. Why are you still in Haddonfield? Why not leave Haddonfield? Your granddaughter Allyson wants to leave. She's staying in Haddonfield because she thinks if she leaves, you're going to fall apart. Why don't you both just leave Haddonfield? It would have been the best thing for both of you. Why do you want to stay there? Oh, well, there's the idea that she secretly wants Michael to come back for her. Maybe that's a thing, but if that's the case, I don't think she'd be living how she's living. She looks like she truly has moved on. She is living a nice suburban life, maybe going to have a relationship at a certain point with Hawkins. Speaking of Hawkins, let me cut to him for a second. clearly killed in Halloween 2018. We got revisionist history telling us that Hawkins still alive, but clearly dead, stabbed in the throat, ran over in Halloween 2018, brought back in Halloween Kills so he can be an exposition monster and give us speeches and narration and, explain things about Michael. Now, what was the whole point of him in the trilogy, though? I mean, why he's so backgrounded, so put to the background here in Halloween Ends? Um, I don't know why you kept him alive. I mean, what was that whole thing in the opening of Halloween Kills where he's like, I gotta take out Michael Myers? Like, what was the purpose of the whole flashback? None of that stuff ever really came back. It's like you would think there'd be a confrontation between Hawkins and Michael, but none of that. Okay, but anyways, back to Laurie for a second. So, living her normal life has introduced Corey to Allyson, but then most of the movie for her, it's gonna be about her being paranoid about their relationship. She does her detective work, slowly realizes she made a big mistake by setting up Allyson with Corey because Corey, based on her talking to different characters in town, based on her looking in Corey's eyes, she sees Michael Myers in Corey, so she wants to break them up and go to any length to do so. All right, let's cut back though. The first 45 minutes of the movie was mostly a dramatic romance between Michael, no, sorry, not between Michael. I guess you could say Michael and Corey, but it's not really romantic. It's just a kinship, apprenticeship. Corey's going to fight a cop, or actually get a cop killed in a sewer. This cop who looks to be in his 40s and 50s and was previously dating Allyson. I don't know if they're just trying to say that Allyson, because of the trauma she was going through, had a stage where she was like just, lonely enough to date this guy, but this guy looks like probably he's about 50 years old. So it's kind of weird that he's Allyson's ex-boyfriend in this movie. But he's not long for this world as Corey holds him up and tells Michael to show me how to do it. And Michael, weak as hell, stumbles to Corey with very little strength or power. He seems like he's pretty much on his last leg, but he stabs the shit out of the cop multiple times, and then Michael has almost like a positive seizure where you see the energy start to seep through him. He's like, oh my god, he just drank a cup of boogeyman juice. Now he's powering up, he's hulking up. Michael Myers getting back to himself with just even the one kill. Now let's talk about this, because in Halloween Kills, they introduced the idea that as Michael kills, he transcends. The more he kills, the stronger he gets. Remember, when Michael did his whole killing spree in Halloween Kills, the mob took him out, thought he was gone, thought he was dead. But Michael had killed so much during Halloween Kills that he was able to get back up, take out the entire mob, go and kill Karen. But this movie's doing a weird thing because based on that idea, the more he kills, the more he transcends, he gets more powerful. Why is he a weak old man in this movie? Do they not realize that he just killed an entire mob and Karen at the end of Halloween Kills? Shouldn't that have rejuvenated him, taken him to the next level, brought him back to maybe his strongest ever that whole night? I guess not, because he's a weak old man here. He's on his last leg, but clearly, this is a thing, because in this movie, the more he kills, the stronger he gets. All right, that's what I'm saying. When you watch the movies all together, this stuff doesn't make sense. You're introducing things, you're honoring that in this movie, but you're forgetting that he just killed a bunch of people at the end of Halloween Kills. Why didn't that power him up? Why didn't that hulk him up to where he was back to full strength in that movie? Why is he in the sewer here, weak as hell, on his last leg? Either way, regardless. Maybe Michael isn't gooey-eyed about Corey. Maybe he's not doing a transference of evil. Maybe he's using Corey, because this makes it a little bit better for Michael's character. Maybe he's using Corey's character to bring him back to full strength. And once he's at full strength, and then he can just break Corey's neck and then continue his killing spree. Maybe that's Michael's plan. I think that does a better service for his character than what we get in terms of Michael actually. Because again, the Michael I know, while after Corey's holding the cop, logically, Michael stabs the cop. He feels that positive boogeyman juice. It feels like he drank a serial killer Red Bull, and he powers up. I gotta think he looks down then and says, oh, and now here's Corey laying on the ground. I'm gonna kill him too and even strengthen up even more. But these scenes in the sewer just end with the idea of, I guess, we don't get a true ending with these scenes. I guess after, when they cut away, Corey's just like, all right, Michael, see you next time, and just walks away, and Michael was like, all right, bro, I'll see you later. But I just think that Michael, again, probably would have killed Corey here, Michael from past movies. But let's say Michael is going to use Corey to keep bringing him victims to strengthen up. That makes sense. Corey's descent into madness. Is it believable that he becomes this full-blown killer? Well, things happen where he slowly gets pushed over. Oh, no, actually, not really. I mean, I can't really say things happen. I mean, he gets a taste of blood, and maybe that's like a thing where just being around Michael is slowly turning him more evil. But again, I want to point to you again. The beginning of the movie didn't give any hint that Corey was actually an evil teenager. They showed him being a normal, responsible, okay babysitter who got caught up in, an accidental death, and then is again living his life as a normal person with no sense of being evil, being bullied. So it's like again they're pointing to some internal corruption that exists in Corey that the movie really doesn't show there being there, at least in the first half of the movie. Okay, let's talk about things that I feel like could have been better in this movie. The sidelining of characters from earlier in the trilogy. We talked about Hawkins. What about the sheriff? Sheriff Barker, is it, from the first two movies? First of all, how does he stop his job? I mean, if that's not incompetence at your job, everything in the first two movies, if that's not you screwing up as a town sheriff, then what the hell is a fireable offense then? I don't understand. How's he still sheriff? How's he still in this town? Why wouldn't you just use him, bring him back, and kill him? I don't understand. If you're going to have his character in the movies, why not make a death scene for him? Let's talk about Lindsay. What was the purpose of Lindsay surviving Halloween Kills and having no real role in this movie? Why not focus on her trauma, her encounter with Michael Myers, her friends being killed? The actress she's in the movie, so I feel like she was probably ready for a bigger role, but she's completely sidelined a nothing role. Again, why not give Lindsay a death scene here? I mean, I feel like, what the hell? Now, during Corey's descent to madness, he's going to kill a doctor and some girl. Well, it's going to be a joint kill. It's him and Michael killing them together. And this scene just asks so many questions for the audience. I mean, did Michael and Corey have a conversation? Because this seemed like something they'd have to plan out. I mean, is it just literally telepathy where they know what each other are thinking? Because this felt like a planned out joint death scene, kill scene. And also, how did they get there? Because it's been a meme for the last 4 years. It's online, but the only logical thing is that Michael and Corey rode here on Corey's bike. So Michael was on the back of that damn bike, traveling across town. Whee! Wow, I feel like I'm 21 again. I don't know. I mean, I guess were they on the bike? Did Michael say, all right, let's, I'll take an Uber? Did Michael just walk there? Because, I mean, he's there pretty much the same. Like, did Corey, ride there on his bike and then just wait for Michael to get there? There's so many questions about this scene. The problem with the death scene in this movie, it's only that there's no consequential deaths. The death scenes are all new, sort of unlikable, irrelevant characters. This is where maybe a Lindsay death scene or a Sheriff Barker death scene or a Hawkins death scene, something would have given more emotional weight to the movie. But none of our main characters are really in trouble here. They're kind of having their cake and eating it too. This is really not a slasher movie, but because they're like, oh shit, this is a Halloween movie, they're like, we have to throw in some slasher kills. So we get some kills, but they always try to make the characters unlikable before they kill them. And then you never feel anything with any of these deaths because none of the characters you had any kind of connection to. So that's kind of a big fail for me in a slasher movie. You want to feel something with some of the characters being killed. You want to have some emotional weight to the deaths, and that's just not here at all. Absolutely absent from the movie. Okay, so let's talk about maybe the absolute low point for the character of Michael Myers. This whole movie, I mean, Michael is so diminished in this movie. He's made it seem so weak in different scenes that it's hard to see Michael this way. It's not that we all sympathize with Michael Myers, empathize. I mean, as I'm getting older, I'm starting to feel random back pains, random back spasms. You wake up, sometimes your knees don't feel quite right. But damn, I mean, Michael just going through the early stages of everything pretty much in this movie, really going through it. Where's the spry, Michael Myers from Halloween 2018? He's not here. So, what? Probably the low point for him as a character is this whole scene where Corey, pushed to the brink of madness, decides that he needs Michael Myers' mask to do a proper killing spree. How does he get the mask? He's going to go in the sewer and whoop Michael Myers' ass. Now, listen, Michael's not Jason. He's not like some tough guy. I mean, we've seen Laurie Strode beat up Michael Myers in Halloween H2O for the most part. We saw Laurie Strode sort of beat up Michael Myers in Halloween 2018. I'm using the word beat up loosely here, not really beat up. The only time he was physically beat up probably was Busta Rhymes beating his ass in Halloween Resurrection. But I don't know if I've ever seen full blown a character walk up on Michael Myers with no fear and start a physical confrontation. Look, once you cross this line where Corey's bullying Michael, and by the way, this is not the weakest version of Michael because we just saw Michael kill a woman by holding her up with one arm, stabbing her. So Michael has gained back a lot of his strength. So this is not like the version of Michael from even the beginning of this movie. This is a stronger version of Michael. You get an awkwardly shot fight scene that, again, just makes me laugh. So Michael getting bullied. Now Corey is the aggressor. He's the one bullying, but he's not bullying high school kids. He's bullying Michael Myers, taking his mask and running away. I mean, at this point in the movie, I'm assuming that Michael Myers in his head's like, this little son of a, like, I trained him to be the new Michael Myers, and here he comes. He can't even get his own mask. I mean, I think Michael expected some appreciation, Corey. Just some kind of thank you, pat on the back for teaching you the ways of the killing. Instead, you can't even get your own mask. You got to come down here. I already got a bad back. You're throwing me against the wall, taking my mask. Now I got to use the last of my strength to somehow get out of the sewer and come and kill you and get my mask back. I think that's what Michael was thinking there. But all that said, Corey's actual killing spree with the Michael Myers mask. He kills the radio show guy. Again, it's a fun death, but again, meaningless. The high school bullies, very silly deaths. But okay, I get it. Killing his mom, again, you don't have any emotional connection to these characters, so it's like all these deaths are kind of just whatever. We just want to get back to, okay, what's happening with Laurie and Allyson. Laurie does an amazing ruse of, pretending that she's going to shoot herself, but instead lures Corey in and shoots him. Corey flies down the stairs. This is where the movie goes off the rails for me. I understand that it almost felt like David Gordon Green wanted to do a movie that was just a passing on the torch of evil to a new character, a new bad guy, to show that the power is not, the evil is not Michael himself. It's something that took Michael and now is going to be in the town and take someone else. It seems like he wanted that, and then someone else in maybe the studio or something was like, or Blumhouse was like, yeah, that's all good and great, but you better end this damn movie with Michael versus Laurie, the final fight. It's not earned in this movie. Corey's the main character. This is Corey's story, and this last 15 minutes is just feels like the wrong ending to the wrong movie. I mean, I don't need to see Laurie fight Michael again at the end of this movie. I just don't need to see it. I want to see Michael's resolution with Corey. I want to see how Allyson deals with, this Corey. I want to see Allyson take out Corey, if anybody takes out Corey. But we get Corey, who's been shot a couple times, has a knife in his hand, decides to stab himself in the throat. It just seemed kind of a weird decision on Corey's part because his whole thing was, Laurie, you're going to get the blame for this. But when Allyson walked in the door, Corey could have turned around and just given his explanation. Then it becomes his word versus Laurie's word. He has 2 bullet holes in him, so he can say, hey, look, she shot me. I don't know if killing yourself at that point is makes any sense. And then Michael coming back, getting the mask, Corey still being alive, and then Michael snapping Corey's neck. Man. After Corey stabbed himself in the throat, do your whole Laurie Michael ending, take out Michael, but then end the movie cutting back to Corey and his eyes open, knowing that he's still alive, the evil's still alive. That's the perfect way to end this trilogy. That ends the trilogy in a way like, oh shit, Michael's gone, but there is a new evil. Snapping Corey's neck, giving finality to Corey's character before the actual ending, it's just like it's kind of like, what was the point of this movie? The whole movie was set up to be the idea that evil passes on, and Corey's our new character we're following. When you kill him in service of a Michael and Laurie fight that's not earned, we're just like, this feels anticlimactic. Now I really don't care. I mean, you spent the whole first half of the movie following Allyson and Corey, and then they're really not involved in the ending here. This ending should have been something more dramatically involving Corey and Allyson, as they were our main characters in the first half of the movie. It just is. Michael is a supporting character in this movie. Laurie Strode is a supporting character. But look, they had to do it. They had to, and it's funny, we look back at the trailer. The trailer basically is all this end scene between Michael and Laurie. It's the only confrontation, and the trailer's advertising as if the entire movie was this big battle. Michael getting killed, look, at least they gave some finality to Michael's character in this trilogy. All the other movies, of course, we know that it's very rare for Michael to actually get like a final death that sticks. You can ignore resurrection, though. Halloween H2 has a perfect ending. If you ignore resurrection, it's a perfect ending for Michael. So you get that. You get the whole town watching Michael get slaughtered, destroyed. But I just wanted to cut back to Corey and show his eyes open, or show his body not there. Just cut back to the thing and show the blood on the floor, but then Corey's body is gone. That to me feels like, come on, that is like such. I know it's like low hanging fruit because it's a callback to the original Halloween, but come on, that's just would have been perfect. Okay, what else? What else can we talk about with this movie? Well, I talked about this in another video, but I thought that a big mistake with the entire trilogy was not keeping the character Aaron, the podcaster from the first movie, alive. Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends, but let's say you go with Halloween Ends. Halloween Ends is 4 years later. So let's say, Aaron, who we didn't actually see physically die in the first movie, let's say that he's been in the hospital recovering for the last 4 years. Now, by the time Halloween Ends comes out, he's out of the hospital. He knows that Michael's still on the loose. So you have a perfect, organic, a new Dr. Loomis. He's been in the hospital for 4 years, thinking about Michael killed his podcast partner, how he, put him in the hospital for 4 years. He believes in the boogeyman now. He comes out. Him as a side character in Halloween Ends, pitching to everybody, hey, Michael's still out there. We have to get him. I saw him up front. I faced him. He's evil. He's coming back for us. Perfect thread. Again, one of those things when you watch a trilogy, getting to part 3, the connective tissue there would have all made appreciated if Aaron was a character here 4 years later. What else? Well, introduce Corey in the first 2 movies. We've seen criticism about this online a lot, that very easy to have Corey be a side character in the first 2 movies, and then, this introduction of his character doesn't feel so kind of rushed and forced and kind of so like, wow, we're just going with a new character here. I like the whole Corey plot in this movie, but I agree that you could introduce him in the early movies. Now, give the benefit of the doubt. They didn't plan the entire trilogy story-wise, so he wasn't going to be in Halloween 2018. But when you went to go do Halloween Kills with Halloween Ends, knowing there's going to be 2 movies, that I do think Halloween Kills, you could have introduced Corey as a new love interest for Allyson, and then they're still together in Halloween Ends, and all this stuff has happened, but Allyson is stuck by his side. Very easy to do that. Again, gives the connective tissue. I think the whole storyline wouldn't feel as foreign to Halloween fans then if you had introduced this earlier in Halloween Kills. I've seen a great suggestion online by Halloween fans that maybe this movie makes more sense as a direct follow-up to the original Halloween. It's actually fascinating if you think about it that way. Think about Michael disappearing after the first Halloween. He's been gone this entire time. And now you have this characterization of Laurie Strode where she is living 40 years later. She is writing the book. The same plot line, except at the end of this movie, Michael actually gets away. Now in the next sequel, now you have Laurie after the events of this movie. Now you have her turn into basically the Sarah Connor, paranoid woman living alone in the woods with massive traps set up around her house and lighting and, guns everywhere. That makes a lot of sense. Her characterization here makes sense if it's her in Halloween 2018. They should have flipped that. Again, let's say this. In hindsight, it's very easy to rewrite the trilogy and make it make more sense. But this being either the first of the new trilogy or a direct sequel to the first movie, it does have some legs. That probably does hold up. Okay, so basically, have my opinions on Halloween Ends changed? Well, I'm gonna say this: it's a very technically well-made film. The music is good. The movie looks great. The acting is good. Jamie Lee Curtis is always good acting-wise. The actor who played Corey did a fantastic job, and he's gonna be the new Billy in the new Silent Night, Deadly Night reboot they're doing. So I look forward to that. I think he's a solid actor. The actress who played Allyson did a great job. All the acting is good. The movie looks good. The music is great. I think strictly just the story, the execution of the story is where most people don't like this movie. This movie does have some hardcore fans though, and if you are a hardcore fan, let me know in the comments what you like about Halloween Ends, because I understand that technically it's actually a pretty good movie, and as a standalone, I think maybe in time people will, if they can see it as a standalone, come to appreciate it more. But the problem is, as the last movie, the concluding chapter in a trilogy, it doesn't get the job done. So I respect it. I think it's well made, but I think it was a miscue. I think it was a fail as the last part of a trilogy. But with all these movies, I'm going to give it another 2, 3 years, watch it again. Who knows? Maybe I'll come to like it more. But this video is just about kind of my feelings right now in 2025 about Halloween Ends. But look, I'll be watching these movies for the rest of the time. So we'll see if I have a different opinion in a couple years. Until next time, you guys take care.